Going to games night weighed down with a giant bag full of games isn't easy. I appreciate that many people have a car and use that to get to games night. That makes sense, especially if you travel a bit further. However, if your friends live only a short while away, then going by bike would be another and possibly better option. Yet, a lot of bikes aren't really designed to carry much. Yes, you could get panniers, but they're not ideal. However, these days there are a lot of utility-oriented bicycles available from your local bike shop, or you can go one better and get a custom-built bike that is not only up to the task of ferrying around bulky loads, like board games, but is also made exactly how you want it. Now you're probably wondering why I'm talking about bespoke cargo bikes on the blog. Well, a friend of mine, Tom, who is also part of our weekly Games Night group, has dealt with the problem of getting games to Games Night. He builds bespoke bikes under the brand Old Grey Electric Company, and he made himself a cargo bike to carry things around town and to bring games to our games nights, along with homemade snacks. He makes amazing vegan cakes and cookies. Not only that, the bike won the Bike Radar Choice Award for utility load-carrying bikes at Bespoke this year. The bike he made is great. As you'd expect, it can carry a good number of games with ease. Only the other day he took Scythe along with the Invaders from Afar and the Wind Gambit expansions, as well as Small World back at home on his bike. As you may know, these are quite bulky boxes, and Scythe in particular is rather heavy, and the bike handled it easily. People often worry that cargo bikes are more difficult to steer and handle because of the extra weight at the front and or back of the bike, but fret not. The bike is stable and steers normally despite bulky and heavy loads by keeping the weight low and having the steering geometry designed to minimize the side effects of your cargo. You may have found in the past that heavier bikes are harder to steer and handle, but Thomas thought about this too. Despite the bike looking chunky and heavy, it's actually really light, and ride quality and handling is very similar to regular bikes. If you add a few kilos of cargo, you won't notice a lot of difference in steering or handling, because the total weight of bike, rider and load is still comparably low. However, you will have to take a bit more care when riding the more load you put on the bike. The bike that Tom built for himself has a platform bed at the front, which is an American style design called a cycle truck, designed to take crates or bag in Tom's case that he designed and made to fit most of our larger games. It's just one of the many options modern utility-oriented bikes offer, including those from other brands such as Tern, Omnium and Harry vs. Larry. Tom is more than happy to answer any questions, so check out his Instagram page with the link in the description below and DM him for more information. You won't be disappointed, and you could end up with the bike of your dreams. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games blog review. There's also a written version of it on my blog, links in the description of this podcast. There you'll also find links to my Ko-fi and Patreon pages if you want to support me financially. Other than that, please also like this podcast and subscribe to it. Leave some stars if you're an Apple Podcast. Everything would be really welcome. And review it if you can as well. Other than that, tell your friends about it, and generally I hope you join me again for another episode of Tabletop Games Blog Review. Thanks for listening, and bye! This podcast was made possible by my Patreon supporters, David Miller of Subquad Publishing, James Naylor of Naylor Games, Paul Grogan of Gaming Rules, Robin Kay of Ruined Sky Games, Sarah Reed of Undine Studios, Tim Vernick, and Richard Simpson of We're Not Wizards.